mentioned that the piece just played and the piece that we're about to play are fairly personal for me for similar and different reasons. They were written simultaneously and were part of a time that was difficult for me personally, but also helped me kind of find out what it was that I loved about art in the first place. Vincent van Gogh, if you don't know anything about him, he's famous for having, in a state of manic depression and mania, having cut off his ear, going to an asylum where he spent the last few months of his life and eventually committed suicide within the asylum. That particular painting is done about a year before his death, several months before he entered the asylum, and actually right on the opposite shore in the painting is the asylum that he would eventually end his life in. It's still there in that absolutely beautiful painting, a peaceful painting about water and ships and stars and the city line. You wouldn't think that that would come from a man who struggled with manic depression, who was crazed and struggled the way he did. And so that was part of what I loved about Van Gogh. Actually, I first found out how much I loved him through watching a Doctor Who episode in which they visit Vincent van Gogh and take him to the future to see exactly how loved he would become. And when asked, the museum curator in the episode is asked, what's so great about Van Gogh? He starts to talk about his coloring and his shading, but the best part is that him, despite all the struggles he had, that was able to see such beauty and goodness and capture it in a painting. And for me, that's really what the arts are about, and it's a real pity that they're not taken seriously in so many places in our public schools, in our government, and even in this institution that we're in today. Because the arts give us a chance to express goodness and to let us long for the goodness that we've missed, and to come to understand and experience it in a fresh way. A lot of the other disciplines in academia might try to quantify it in some sort. Science might try to understand it. History might try to track it, or track the lack thereof. Theology and philosophy might try to explain it. But in the arts, we get to see a little picture of what it actually is and actually experience it emotionally for ourselves, to get to see a little glimpse of the Creator who made us in His image, who made us creative the way He's created. Creative, not created. That would be heretical. And who is redeeming us and recreating us after the image of His Son and making us actually being able to reconnect to the source of all goodness and truth, beauty, and life. And so, while I was thinking through those nice philosophical things while looking at Van Gogh, I was also writing the following piano sonata, struggling with anxiety and sleeplessness. It was an opportunity for me to wrestle with the ways that I felt frustrated, the ways that life was difficult because it's hard to do what you need to do when you can't sleep and when you're anxious and things of that sort. So this piano piece allowed me to kind of take some of the anxiety I did and turn it into a work of music that I actually really enjoy now. I couldn't listen to it after I wrote it for several months. It was too weird, but now I've come to really enjoy it. And so for me, this is some of what the arts do, and this was an opportunity for me to experience that firsthand, writing these last two pieces. And I would like to introduce Mrs. Eunice Jian, who is going to help play, or is going to play this last piano sonata. She has the hardest job of all of the performers, having to tackle this beast. So let's do it. This is the last piece, and it's in 3 movements, so don't clap between movements.